Okay, that's on. Okay, so where are we at with the programming and the other members that are doing stuff? I see Robert, or I'm sorry, Jeffrey's here doing something. Is he the only active one we have right now?
Yeah, Gary is out of reach for the now. Didn't respond to messages lately.
Okay. Is he is he doing okay with it?
Mm, well, I was planning to see later today where he is with that to see did he uploaded anything into TSS.
Okay. You can see
Uh,
my you can see my screen, right?
yeah,
Okay. All right. Because that's dragging out a little bit. So I was just wanting to make sure that he's actually okay with it.
yeah, I'll check with him if is it possible to do to finish it because he didn't request it or didn't ask anything in a week.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay. Well, just let me know in the lead chat when you find that out.
Okay.
The resource system that you're working on, how's that coming along?
Yeah, maybe another 2 or 3 hours it will be completed.
Okay. I'd like to go ahead and get a build put together. Um, do you think you'll have that done today?
Research system, maybe.
Okay.
No.
When I see that, hey Aaron, when I see that's done, I will. I would like to get us merged together. I know we were waiting on Jeffrey to merge. Let's find out where we're at with that because I want to get a build together. I want to see the project as a whole with all the script changes that we've done and kind of see what goes from there.
Okay.
Uh, so I can see where we're at with the vertical slice. For now, I think that's it for programming until I can actually see it and actually use it in the editor. I'm interested in seeing the XML functionality that you get that was built into it already.
Yeah, we have some of the code.
Yeah, so I want to get that pretty well taken care of, and then figuring. I think the major issue for as programming goes is working with the nav mesh and trying to figure out how to segregate submarine from surface, from land to air
Yeah.
units. So I think that right now that's going to be our major priority, and we want those to be fluent. We don't want them glitchy or anything. We want them to look and feel like if they were in those type of environments and should act accordingly based on what the unit is.
Okay.
So okay, Aaron, I spoke with John earlier, and I was trying to set up a meeting. And I think the soonest that we can probably get him into a meeting is going to be next Saturday at this point. I'm still waiting on confirmation from that. Once I have that, I will post it in the team chat so that it's confirmed. But I think that's what we're looking at. He sent me that stuff. Let me pull it up here. And I can make sense of some of this, but I don't know exactly what he is referring to.
Mhm.
1 second. Let me pull this up here. Here we go. So this is what he sent me, which I think I passed it along to you.
Yeah, yeah.
So and then what exactly? So he said there's broken up pieces here, and you said something about that, and I didn't quite understand it. So can you elaborate on that?
Can you pull that model up in Blender?
Yeah. Give me.
I can go step by step on what he said to show you.
Okay. Give me 1 second here. Let me. Open up.
And do you have Unity pulled up right now?
I am updating the freaking thing again.
Oh.
It is actually installing right now, so I'll have it here shortly. But man, I tell you, they have patched that thing so many times this month.
Oh, I know. I've never seen it like this either. I mean, it's not really a bad thing, I guess.
No, it's not. But it's like, man, every time I open it, I'm like, oh man, I got updated again.
Every 2 or 3 days, I swear. I still don't even have the latest one. I just figured I'd let them do their thing and then update it.
Yeah. Let me see here. Oh, his takeoff is gameable. I don't think our tank is gameable. That looks pretty slick.
Yeah, I like Daniel's work.
Yeah, I do too. Oh, I got it on. I'm not used to having this extra roll. Where's the rolls? Rolls. There. Here we go. Let's see. I gotta open up Blender first because whenever I try to open it on there, it doesn't like me very much. I can't open directly from here for some reason.
Oh, it's probably because you're clicking on the FBX file.
Yeah, it is. Because I try to open the FBX file using Blender, but I forget you can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, is that not on my desktop? Oh, Jesus. Okay.
All right, so you want to pull up that document real quick, or that notepad?
All right.
All right, so loaded, test the tank. Okay, so the artifacting he's talking about, I believe, is like the import settings on Unity, and I can show you that if you can pull that up here in a minute. It's a really simple checkbox, and you slide a slider, and that's pretty much it, and it fixes it. The reason why is I use shape keys for the tracks, and shape keys for some reason likes to it doesn't bake the lighting, but it acts like it's not in real time, so it doesn't update the shadows, and so they like stick to the surface and they look weird. So instead of importing the normals from Blender, there's a setting in Unity where you check it so that it calculates it instead, and so it calculates the shadows in real time.
Okay.
And that should fix the artifacting because I didn't have that on my end when I was done with it. So,
Okay, so let's talk about with the things that he's mentioning. We have both of these wikis here.
Mhm.
And what I'd like to do is make sure that we get this detailed information into these wikis. I want it to basically be able to like look at this and follow, step 1, model it, step 2, do this, step 3, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
With one of these, I'm not just organize it somehow to where if someone that didn't know what we were doing or why we're doing it could come in here and read it
Okay.
and do it, because it'll save us time later on if we document it.
So you want to change this one, the animation methods that's about the tank? Well, do we want to have documentation on the tank there? Or are you saying just like turn it into a guide?
Basically a guide, like for everything. Like we're trying to establish a standard, and that's what I really want. Is I want that standard established. That way, when I come in here and I read it, you know, did you pull this from Voxel?
What do you mean?
The tank.
No, I made it in Blender.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to do like, start in Blender, model it, doing whatever tools you use to model it, like extrude obviously, and cube, all the methodologies and tools and things that you use to make it. Put those up front, and then as you're going down the criteria list, continue to document, the little gotchas like this here that they're talking about, or anything else that you've already fixed that is already an issue. Now I want like a checklist of we need to check this, and this is how you should fix these things, and then move on from there. That way, when I go to review models and stuff like that, one, I can look at it and make sure that it's within reason.
Yeah.
And then two, new users that come in and try to help us need to understand why we're doing the things we're doing. So the documentation for standardizing it and why needs to be there.
Go back to the, not the wiki of the, like more of the flowchart one that I did. Because not every single model is going to have the same methodology necessarily. And see, like, I don't know why the color came out black and white. It wasn't supposed to, but so these are different things that you can do. There are a few ways you can animate in Unity. It's kind of limited though. Blender mainly. I'm assuming we're doing most of the stuff in there.
Yes. I want to do pretty much all the animation in Blender using the shape keys that you were talking about.
Yeah, and most everything under Blender, right there, most of all that can be baked to bones. However, I just spelled out, curves, paths, drivers, stuff like that.
I think our standard from the last meeting we had with John was that we would bake all animation to bone. So if it can't be baked to bone or it's tedious, I think we should remove it from the table and just not even have it as an option.
Well, I think this is what I'm saying. Not every single model is going to be like this because, for instance, the reason I was able to get such a low memory or like so few kilobytes on that tank when it was done animated or done being animated was like, for instance, the wheels.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a script for that to handle the wheel rotations, and that uses a lot less data and overhead and shit. Sorry. Than basically rigging them, because in order to rotate them like that and for it to be a part of the rig for the tank, you would normally have to have either a bone per wheel or a set for like crossways. So the model I have done it's got 18 wheels, I believe. The other one had 32 because they were like doubled on both sides. Mm-hmm. I put that little barricade thing in the middle and extend them out so that we use half the amount. And to me, it doesn't look too bad. But that would have reduced the bone count on the armature just by doing that, even if we had bones on it. But generally speaking, for a low poly model like that, I feel like it's unnecessary to have that many bones, because every single bone you add to a model, it adds data. And every single vertice, like every single point on a mesh, when you do weight paint to a bone to say that the bone controls it, that also adds data. So
okay. Well, these are things that we need to. I want to make sure we get on that wiki. Like when do you make that decision? Obviously it's a performance decision. So if you're only messing with, I don't know, one or two bones, and it's probably not worth writing a script. But Like
Exactly.
I can understand it where you're doing the tracks. So
Yeah.
I want to make sure that when we label that stuff, that it's it's understandable why the decision was made to do it one way versus another. Now,
Exactly.
with that being said, how does Unity handle the script?
Just perfectly fine on my end.
Okay, John said he was able to get it rolling within 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's good to go. How do you look at the script on here? I've never scripted in Blender before.
Oh no. That all their language is in Python, and that's not where I did it. Um, I made like the script that I had prior to for the turret.
Hmm.
I when my computer did its weird thing, I had to redo the script. But basically, I merged a new script I did for the to handle Mechanum as well as the wheels, and I merged the turret one with it.
How
So
do you how do you look at it? I want to see it.
if you pull up Unity, it's or Visual Studios, the what is it? I think it's Script Abram Tank or something like that.
Okay.
Shouldn't be too hard to find in there. And it's still going to need a little work over time. It's not exactly polished yet, but it does function.
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't want to polish it up without having approval that we're going to go through with it and all that.
I think you're on the right path. So, Robert, do you have any suggestions or anything?
No, I agree with her.
Okay. In this folder, I don't see a.
The Script Abrams Tank, the second to last.
Oh.
Yeah, it was in there
Oh, there. Okay, there it is. I got it.
above the meta.
So we actually have to write to animate it. Yeah. Well, this is Unity's animation. Where's the Python script?
Oh no, I didn't write Python. That I was just saying that that's what Blender uses.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were talking. Was that?
No. That's open source stuff for Blender. I didn't.
Okay. Okay. That makes more sense. I was like, okay. Okay. So you animate it
Yeah,
using Unity. Okay.
that's why in the animation methods I'd put programmatic animation, and I think I put Unity. I hope I did, but
Okay. Well, I think, Robert, I think after we get done with the making everything fly naturally and move naturally in the game with the nav mesh stuff, I think our next attention should be to try to standardize how we're going to animate all the stuff. One of John's suggestions to me was that we have an animation file, an animation script that handles all animation for all units. He said that way when you modify something, you're only modifying at one place as a, kind of a hub between Blender and Unity, which I agree. I think that's probably a really good idea. So once we get done with that, I'd like all three of us to turn to that and start trying to figure out, the best way to make it to where it's easy to find and easy to use. Okay. All right. So at this point, Aaron, what else can we work on while we wait on John to join us next week?
Well, I don't know where you're at with it. Like, are you wanting to do other animations or?
Let's look under. I think. Let's see. I think Daniel's kind of taking on this stuff. I would like to see an inventory. He doesn't seem to like to do inventory. I think it's hard, and I don't know. Do you think you could probably try to see if you can do an inventory guy with animation?
Do you have a reference on there?
Well, we do have the other animations or the other models for infantry that we have done, or that we purchased, and I think we've done a few of them. But let me.
Is there a reason for not using those, or?
They're not animated.
Oh, you just want them animated?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let me.
I thought you were talking about redesigning them too.
No, I like the way they look. Let me. Whoops. Okay. Let's see, armament. I think they were uploaded by me. Yeah, maybe not.
So, did you build this whole website by yourself?
Yes.
That is awesome.
Um,
How long did that take you to get it running?
this website was created in 2011. We're actually, well, we're actually redoing it. And speaking of that, let me let's jump off topic just for a second here, and let me show you guys something that I cannot spell today. So here's the website as you guys have seen it.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to make all the pages something similar to this.
Okay, so those are all the agendas.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So you'll see that this stuff appeared up here. So you got your hub, and you'll have your lead area, and then you'll have your everything that happens that you can do that we don't have buttons for, basically.
Yeah.
So when we click this, it brings up the agenda over here, and you can maximize it or minimize it. And then, you'll get your pop-ups right here. There'll be different ones for, uploading stuff. But basically what the idea is that we take from, is it PN? Yeah, PIN. So we're basically taking the design here from the Pinterest way of doing things.
Oh, okay.
If I can, well, okay, finally. So what we're going to do is we're going to take like this type of layout here, the way you got your button down here, you'll have your request up here, and then if you click it, it'll show up over here rather than going to another page. But so it'll all be self-driven on one page. But that's basically what we're doing is taking this design and putting it over here.
Okay.
In kind of a sense. So you guys can always look at the sandbox if you want to kind of see the progress of it. I've been working on it pretty much nonstop, trying to get it coded. There's a lot of code to this. If you guys, the website code itself is, I think, somewhere around 500 to 600 CS classes by itself, and that's not even counting all the SHISMLs, all the HTML and CSS stuff. That's just C#.
Man.
So it's a lot of work and a lot of undertaking. But I think with the changes that we're gonna be doing with it, because it'll make it to where, like, we've evolved this system over time from everybody's comments and stuff, and I think it's gonna work out a lot better. Just for the simple fact is that we'll be able to have everybody on one agenda if we want it to.
Yeah.
So you can have, sound, audio, 3D, animation, and programming all on one tank agenda to make it work, versus having one agenda per thing,
Yeah.
So I will find the models. I know we have referenced them many times, and I always forget to make make a copy. Basically, I think this is one Daniel did, or Jonathan did. Let me look here. Yeah, Jonathan did this one.
Is it an animation or just?
No, it's just a flat model.
Okay.
And so what I want to do is I want to find these here, and I know we have more than one, and I want to see if we can try to animate that, not only to like fire the rocket, but walking, running, your basic movement type situation.
Yeah.
So I will I'll dig into that more and get you the whoops, hold on. No. I need more coffee. Let me just do infantry. No, it's got to be listed under something else. Oh, there, yep. There they are right there. Okay, so if we go to, okay, these are the ones we purchased here. So we go to this list here. Yeah, these are all the ones we purchased. And there is infantry in here somewhere.
Do we plan on using all these?
Probably. They match our art style perfectly.
Okay.
Let's see these. See, these are the textures to it that we got. Here, let me. It's too long of a list. Let me take it down to just 3D models. You guys catching all that? Oh, there, right there. So what I'll give you this link here in the team chat. Oops. And as you can see here, these are just the basic stuff. Special Forces guy. He's got like night vision goggles on. Special Forces, I don't know, just flat top. Special Forces with a mohawk. Yeah, so on and so forth. So I just want you to basically, can you create an agenda with this? I'll put this in the team chat. There you go. Make an agenda for taking one of these models and animating it.
Okay. Just any one of them?
Yeah, I don't really care which one. Just grab one. I want to see a walking model, basically, and maybe like a. I think also on the last discussion we had, we talked about whether to have the models separate from the main model or not. So like RPG versus an AK-47, so on and so forth. And from what I understand from John is that flipping them in and out is better than trying to flip in individual assets into the scene. And I think I agree with him on that too, because it's a lot easier for us to program that. It's just to change the name of the models being rendered versus trying to, write the code that goes with putting an AK-47 with a rocket launcher if you decide to switch weapons. So that's what I want to do. Is
what route are you wanting to?
basically, I want each model to be a standalone model with no extra stuff outside of it. So all animation.
You're talking a base character with interchangeable weapons?
No, I'm talking base character with permanent weapon, non-changeable. So if you make a model or you create a model in the game and it has a rocket launcher, that model has that rocket launcher 100% of the time without anything else. It is a one-to-one relationship. If we need to change it for whatever reason, say you switch that unit's model to something else, then in the code we will simply switch out to a model that has an AK-47 rather than trying to take the existing model that's in the game and put in, an AK-47 attached to that model. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just curious what. I don't know. I mean, because to me, the way I'm picturing it is you have a base model for the character, and then on top of it, you would have a well, because for one, it's gonna cause, at least off the top of my head, I'm thinking it'll cause more memory in the final game export, or like when people download it.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of having like say a character and then a bunch of guns, you would have a character and a gun, a character and a gun, a character and a gun. So it's way more poly count, and I mean you're duplicating animation files and things like that.
Yeah, and I understand that. We can start with a base model, but when we code it, I want it to be a one-to-one relationship. And the reason, even if we have 50 models with different things, the size of our models and the size of this game isn't going to be very much, because the art style we've chosen is not very it's not very performance costing at all.
Well, yeah, but the end result on the I mean the finalized game itself, because I mean if you think about it, I mean, well, how many different kinds of characters are we planning to have?
A lot. A lot
Well, like at least 10 or so.
more than that.
Well, like let's say we have 10, and let's say we have like 10 weapons. So that's 10 characters times 10 weapons. So that's already 100 models that we'd be carrying in there, or we'd have 20 models. We'd have 10 weapons and 10 models. And the way I'm seeing it is like in their hand, for instance, they would have an empty game object that is parented to them that moves around, and you could deactivate or activate other models, like of the say 10 guns, and it
Okay.
would project it there and render it.
I understand what you're saying. And so the point that I'm making is that if we have it that way, the simplicity of the code and simplicity of actually creating the game is, I think, less daunting and less bug prone.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if we do it the other way, which I understand the need for it, and I understand the labor of love for it, but I also see a lot of issues that we may run into just for doing that. So I'm a little bit torn between it. And to get the game out and going, what I want to do is I want to start with a one-to-one relationship.
Yeah.
Once that's done, then because we're only going to have probably like 10 to 15 models at most for the game when we start this. So at that point, we can actually A/B test stuff and make a decision at that point whether we want to do it. Because I understand consolidating and making it to where we can switch them out, because that'll increase our production line tenfold, and I'm for that. But to get us out the door, I want us to start with just a one-to-one relationship so we can actually see the gameplay and everything as is right now. And then we'll once we get a beta out and going that we can play, then we'll readdress this issue.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, if you'll just create an agenda for that, I'd like to see a fully animated soldier. And then I think as far as let's come here. As far as other things go, I think we're probably squared away. Tessa's taking care of that. Daniel's been on a roll with this. He is a modeling king. I haven't heard from Edward. I was actually hoping he would join us today. So I will reach out to Edward.
Does he do sound?
Do what?
Does he do sound?
No, he's design.
Oh,
So I'm gonna reach out to him a little later today, and I will figure out where we're at with this because we've been waiting on that for a little while. So I'll address that, and then I think we got a handle on that, and then I'll have Tessa reach out to Robert about this one. We've been waiting on that for a little bit too. So okay, well, that's all I have for today. So do you guys have anything else that you want to discuss?
with the tank, like the stuff I was saying, do we have a clear outline of what we want it to do?
No. Oh yes, and that's another subject that we've been talking about. So in my talks with John, I told John, I said we need something that's simplistic enough to get us out the door, but also something that we can basically build upon. So
Yeah.
basically, like when we so let's take like the gun here, or the cannon. I mean, so 100 and was it 180 or 120 millimeter cannon on the front of this. I forget what exactly it is for the Abram, but you know, this gun, this cannon, it moves up and down too for leveling.
Yeah.
But that's really, that small detail is not really important at this point in stage in our game. That's something that I'd like to add in, you know, way later, you know, is keep on building upon the models to be able to advance the animation and to make it, you know, more and more like the model that it represents.
Yeah.
That's the goal, is to make it to where we can start off simple and move forward, you know, building block wise, you know, start simple and move up. So as far as a full list of animation for any model, it's kind of hard. You know, you take your common sense things like infantry, walking, a gun, firing, a tank, you know, it rolls, a turret moves. I mean, that's like the two main features of a tank. A jet, you're going to have your afterburners and your flaps and, you know, rotors and wing and all, or, you know, all that stuff. You know, the basic concept. But you know, the jet, we may right now we're not going to have cockpits that open and close. You know, but later on down the road, a good animation to have as it's taken off from an airport would be that the cockpit closes and then it takes off. So these things, you know, we want to be able to redo some animation too, because obviously we're going to have that jet take off prior to that happening. Without a cockpit opening and closing. But we want to be able to do these things and make it to where it's efficient enough to, you know, not scrap the model and start over.
Yeah.
So that's the end goal. And those wikis that you've written, you know, we're gonna want some of that stuff in there for sure. As far as like how to make it to where we can actually do these things and continue, because our end goal here is to have a content driven game to where we can continue adding to it over and over as time progresses. And once we get out of the modern age, then, you know, we can start moving to other ages, like, you know, like I've said before, everything from throwing rocks, you know, in caveman days to some sort of alien spaceship, so on and so forth. And then we can have game modes where you can mix and match those things and just all kinds of, you know, non-realistic but fun things to do with the game.
Yeah.
Is kind of the end vision of it. People that want to just play a military game, you know, of modern technology will select that age and go. People that want to play with pirate ships and spears and bows, that's the age they'll select. And the people that just want to do something goofy and funny, you know, they'll intermix it together and you'll get what you get. So I hope that answers your question. How to achieve that, we're still, you know, obviously it's still being worked out. So,
Well, it's kind of like you said. I mean, we can come up with the basis of what we want to see from the tank, for instance. But it's kind of the same on my side as well, from the animation perspective, is how you wouldn't know all those things. There may come times with certain models where you may have to redo them. So there isn't really a bona fide way to say this is going to work for everything.
Yeah. And I understand that too, because obviously, if you look at the wire, the wire framing on this, if if we end up with, yeah, if we end up with, this thing being chopped up somehow that it cannot be animated, you're gonna have to come in here and remove vertices and redo those. And I understand that that's going to be a problem going forward, to an extent with what we're trying to do. So it's just one of them things that, we just play it by ear. And when we figure out, that's an issue, then we address it.
Yeah.
So it's like when we first got this tank, you've seen how messy that wireframe was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to come in here and clean it all up, or, well, I guess you created this one.
Yeah,
But
it was belligerent. I tried, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna redo it because
yeah,
you know how he was explaining how whenever you use those modifiers to clean it up,
yep,
if they're intersecting in the mesh, they get confused and they like bind to each other, and so it ruins a lot of the normals and things like that. And so you can't exactly say select the tracks, like you are now.
yeah.
So I was having a lot of issues with that, so I just threw my hands up and said I'm just gonna redo it because it's gonna look better and it's gonna be easier and have less data.
Yep. And I totally understand that.
And
So,
it may not be that way with every single model that comes out of Voxel, but this one in particular happened to be that way.
as far as modeling goes, I am not partial to voxel. If people want to use it, that's fine. And then import it into Blender, but I expect it to be nice and clean like this one, to where there's not a bunch of lines in it that don't need to be there.
Well, I think definitely like for the art style for this game, Voxel is definitely a good place. I think Daniel, I think he does good in it.
Yeah.
He might actually have more trouble trying to make that kind of stuff in Blender, from scratch.
And that's totally fine. I don't mind if you want to do it in it. It's just by the time it comes into the game, it needs to be a clean, precise model that's not going to cause us problems. We don't want soldiers and other vehicles getting into the tank. So, and I'm sure we'll end up finding people, that do those type of things. So, when we'll find them, we'll address them and then move on. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it right now. But going out the door, I expect them to be nice, clean, and precise. Not like that tank that did come out. It was a beautiful tank, but there's just way too many faces to it, too many vertices, and so on.
Yeah. I really liked how it looked when he made it, though, so I tried to keep this one as identical as I could.
Yeah. Yep. So, okay. Well, that's, I think that's that. Anything else?
Not unless it's something we need to do for John or to figure all that stuff out.
I'm still waiting on him to respond to me. If he responds to me, as soon as he does, I will let you guys know, and then we'll go from there. But like I said, I'm shooting for next Saturday. We'll have our meeting at 8:30.
Okay.
So that's. Oh wait, hold on. He responded to me. Hold on here. Oh yeah. Okay. So he's. Let's see here. No. Let's see. Can you? What's next Saturday's date? 10. Just make sure I'm right. Okay, he did respond to me, and as soon as I get it confirmed, I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right. Well, if that's it, then I'll go ahead and get off here. I need to get a hold of Edward, and before he goes to bed, I think he's something like 11 hours above in front of us. So let me do that.
Oh, I got two quick questions for you if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So the infantry, did you just want the walking animation for now, or what all did you want for that?
Yeah, walking and like arm swinging. Like a normal walking, not just like leg movement and no arm swinging. Maybe a little head bobbing. I don't know. Something.
Are they,
You might look at like some YouTube videos of people marching and
Mhm.
maybe do something like that.
Okay. And you said like Minecraft style for them too.
Yes.
Okay. And the other thing was, how are we on that nav mesh? Like, uh, are we stuck again or what?
We are. Robert's going to get with Jeffrey today sometime, and he's going to update us on what's going on with that because it's been stalled out for a little bit. So let's see if he needs help or whatever, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. I wasn't sure where we left off with it. So.
Yeah, I think programming wise, that's our main focus right now is to get natural movement out of the units
Okay.
to where they're totally realistic type versus kind of jumpy.
Yeah, I'm thinking Robert had mentioned it too, and I think Jeffrey did. Like the last place he was at with it is to do a separate one.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that might actually probably be the best route. I mean, I'm not 100% on that. I still got to play around with it on my end and see. But so far I don't see any problems with that.
I don't either. Robert, do you?
I didn't hear you that last part.
Do you think there's an issue with using two nav meshes per map, one for air, one for land? And if we go that route, should we not have one for under the water as well? So
Yeah,
making three.
that is something that I tried, but didn't work last time. I have no ideas about that. So that's plan B if current one is if Jeffrey could not get current one to work.
Okay. I tell
Uh,
you, I think what we ought to do is probably pull Jeffrey into a meeting.
yeah. Well, I will tell you one thing. I was working on one of my other personal projects, and it was I was instantiating hex tiles, and I tried to set it up with a nav mesh. That way, you can move along them like smartly and avoid things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I had like 10,000 at one time on screen, and with 10,000 of them, I was able to have the nav mesh links and be able to go from one to another. And so that's like 20,000 or no, sorry, 30,000 links and 10,000 different nav mesh surfaces in one scene. So I'm pretty sure it's possible.
Okay. Well, let's. I think Robert, do you agree? Should we pull Jeffrey into a meeting and then all of us, we can just work it out together right there on the screen.
You mean
Yeah, that might actually work well.
next Saturday or
I'd like to do it sooner. Is it possible you
okay?
can reach out to him and see when he's available, and then we'll hopefully we can work it out.
Okay.
Let's do that because next Saturday I want it to be focused on John. So the sooner Jeffrey can do that, the better, and then we'll see if we can't all work together and get that situated.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Okay, I'll wait. We'll wait to hear from you of when he's available, and then go from there, or see it in a team chat, whatever. And as you guys see, Edward said that he would try to have it done by tomorrow night, so that agenda should be good. I'll let Tessa handle the audio one. So Oops, wrong button. Okay, anything else?
No, I think it's it from my end.
Yeah, I'm good too.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna get off here. It's good hearing from you guys again.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll see you around.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye.